Go. We have 20 people here. That's a pretty good. We had lots of practice. It's been how many? 5 years, they say, since the COVID lockdown. It just doesn't seem that long. But so these are all the things we'll talk about here. Our new members. We're a little bit behind on that one. Any new members can, if you don't see your name up there, let us know. Well, of course, Garrett Dow here. Garrett Dow, KD6KPC is here. The history of the Repeaterbook. Then we'll hear a bit from our mentoring committee and club secretary announcements, and I got a wrap up of the Vintage Electronics show, or the Vintage Electronics Expo, and we did reasonably well for first timers. I think we made a few dollars, but the learning experience was immense. So I got some slides on that. And then we'll talk about what the board of directors talked about at their meeting. We'll touch on that and some other items we have here. So a shared drive, I don't know if we're going to get that far, but we're going to talk about that. I have a question. That's probably just a quick question and answer. License courses, all the other things, zero beat and membership comments at the end, and off we go. How do you say the Pledge of Allegiance? So that maybe we'll talk about why do we say the Pledge of Allegiance? Given the fact that the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club is among the first or second amateur radio station established in 1965, this was quite traditional back in 1965, and that's where the tradition started. When we recite the Pledge of Allegiance and help foster the sense of unity and respect. I mean, our differences, we can leave them at the door. And it's one thing we share, the hobby of amateur radio. Also very important, the respect for our veterans and our first responders. Many hams are veterans and police officers and firefighters and other public servants, people working the forest fires and the earthquakes and things like that. They deserve a recognition. The other reason we recite it is the acknowledgement of service, because many hams are emergency communication operators. So there's that. They work closely with government agencies. And then finally, the patriotism and civic pride, of course. We want to feel proud about our community. And the symbol of commitment. We're amateur radio operators. This is what we do. That's our perspective on this. And that's why we say it. So if you have other response to this or want to say something, either agreeing or contrary to it, we could put that up as well and share that with our club members. The International Amateur Radio Union, so they have their own code of conduct, and it's basically simple stuff. Be respectful and friendly and considerate, and let's be tolerant. Not everybody agrees with us, and that's okay. And, be polite. Not everybody's experience as we are, or as we might be in a certain technical subject. So, the library is closed officially, but Randy was willing to put on his heavy jacket and his galoshes and walk over and hold the building open for us. And we appreciate that. And the folks at the Hazel Park Library really have been terrific. They've been very welcoming, and I look forward to working close together with them in the future. And one way you can do that, of course, is they have if you're going to order something on Amazon, you could use their Amazon page, and they get a certain donation there. So, and they've been very generous to us in terms of use of the room, and we appreciate that. Full moon was yesterday. Today's this one day past, but this is called the snow moon because it's named after the heavy snowfall that often occurs in February. And Reuben, with his quick wit, says, yes, there's snow moon to be seen out there. Not tonight. No, sir, not with that heavy cloud cover. We just want to acknowledge our board members who do work hard, and I will say this is one dedicated bunch of folks who really help keep this club together and help us organize our events and our programs and so on and so forth. And it's a great group of guys. It's not the only group of guys who work the club. We have other folks who are chairmen of the different committees that we have. And then we have people who aren't board members, who aren't chair people, they just are participants and help keep the club going. So it takes a lot to keep the momentum of the club going. So here are the committees. And you can see, well, the election committee, we're not too concerned, but we do have to start thinking about it. It is the new year, but that's kind of off in the future. That would be in when, April, May, something. Oh, not that far off, actually. The one thing we want to talk about, the banquet committee. That's something that it would be nice. We haven't really had a banquet in some time. It's a lot of work, but it's always a nice thing. So if someone out there is inclined to do so, that might be something to think about there.
We should probably also bring up that the election committee positions are open currently, and that's coming up. That's coming up.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're planting the seed this month, and next month we're going to be actively seeking. We have time just seems to fly by, I guess. So thanks for bringing that up. Listen, speaking of new people, we have these tags. And if you know any of these people, we have their tag. And I think, I don't know, maybe we mail them out. I'm not sure what to do with them, but they are sitting in a bag. And if you have a question about that, I know Len, I think, has information on that. All right, quick reminder, remember, we're rated G on the DART, okay? If an 8-year-old can get an FCC technician class license, we're rated G. Just a reminder, we got to think about that. And of course, we want to thank our air monitors and especially our chief engineer. And also, I just want to add that Mike has been doing quite a bit of work too under the engineering aspect of it, and is working on the antenna project, which we can talk about. Got a few slides for that as well. But just folks who always have an ear tuned in, and make sure that everything is on the up and up there. So Reuven is here. You want to talk to this at all, and just
so. The first announcement is that the Livonia swap is going to be Saturday the 22nd. So that's not this Saturday. That's next Saturday. Look at the calendar. Anyway, that Saturday the 22nd will be the Livonia swap. This is the location. I'll just read it off your screen. And the Livonia ARC website is probably where you can get more information. You can potentially, I don't know, sell things there, whatever you'd like. So that's the first announcement. The second is that the Arrow Hamvention bus, that's again Saturday, May 17th. So I think in May already, but it's February. And it's $70 per person, pickup in Ann Arbor and in Toledo. And there's a website here you can use to buy a ticket. And then the last thing is that if you join the ARRL through the club or renew your membership to the ARRL through the club gets a commission. So normally I would hand out forms in the back. I probably have one right over here. We would combine these all, mail them to the ARRL. They would then renew your membership and give the club credit. I believe the club gets, I think, $5 for every renewal and I think $15 for every new member. So obviously that helps with the club activities. We get a little more money to do activities. And we are an ARRL affiliated club, and we encourage our members to also be ARRL members. Okay, and then this is, I don't know if you want to speak to this or Len.
Yeah,
Len's not here.
Len, we have this generous donation of an FT747 transceiver, and it is for sale. Len is handling it, and it was donated to the club, and it's 100% of the proceeds will go to the Repeater project. And it's ideal for, a new general class licensee or Even an extra, anybody who needs something small and light and low power consumption and all that. So we're asking $375. You will need a power supply. That is not included. But these cables, these are the cables that come with it. So you can see the one on the left here, that's the power cable. And the one on the right is some sort of a DIN connector connected to, I think that looks like some sort of USB connector there. Anyway, and so this microphone, so you look at the microphone and you say, well, been around the block once or twice. So I looked it up and I found this very interesting, very, very interesting. This microphone has seen many days and it's still working, it's still standing up straight, and it really is a proven piece of equipment. It was originally introduced with the Motorola Motrek back in the 1950s and 1960s. That's when it was introduced. I remember using it in the 1980s, and on the news desk they had a radio, and that was what really kind of attracted to me because I hadn't seen it in really decades. But anyway, I just thought that was very interesting, and hopefully you would find that interesting as well. Now,
that microphone's the same microphone I used in the 1970s.
Yeah.
With the alarm company I used. That thing was so tough that when you got mad at somebody, you could slam that thing no matter how hard you hit that thing. It never broke.
That's right. That's right. And the microphone part comes off the stem, and it's a handheld, and it also works with the, I guess those are Mitrex back then, but yeah, those took a beating. Took a licking and kept on ticking, as they say. So here's a few shots of what we saw there at the Vintage Electronics Expo, which is pretty cool. Here's just a general what the place was laid out. This was at the brand new. This must have been, I don't think it was the first show, but I think the second or third. It's only been open a month, this place. And it looks terrific. Much to my surprise, there was not a lot of ham radio equipment there, hardly at all, actually. So I don't think a lot of hams were there, although a few stopped by. Here's a sample of what stuff looked like there, and you can see it's a good selection. It also had tubes and small parts, and so, these are folks that really refinished these radios and electronics and so on. Now here's I tell you what a terrific booth this was. This is a Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club booth. It looked terrific there. You can see sitting here we have Mike, and look at this. We just happened to get a picture of Len. Just caught him. Okay, again, I apologize to everybody for the mix-up with the, all right, this was just a sign that we put up there just so people understand our club, who we are. We divided the club into 3 sections here: our on-air operations. These are our net control operators. These are the different nets that use the DART, and some nice photos there. Then one of the key things, of course, about the DART, people say, well, it's just analog. Well, yeah, but the thing is, analog, you can talk to any radio does analog. So the interoperability is extremely important, especially in times of an emergency or, when things are unpredictable. The voter, very important aspect of everything, and that's something that's going to get attention as well. John's looking on that. And then speaking of that, that's our technical support. So that's just a rundown of some of the things that we showed there, and of course, these are our introduction slides. This is what our table looked like. But so we started out with something that looked like this, and this wins the most interesting item on our table award. Okay, this is a half-wave rectifier, a mercury vapor-filled tube. And look at this base. You could see, this is back from, I had the date. Where is it? It was like back from the 1920s. Obviously, this is one of the first tubes ever to be manufactured because it looks like a light bulb, right? And then at the top, you can see this attaches to the anode or the plate. And it's on eBay for $50. I would have thought it was more. But I just think it's so interesting. And Bob brought it in as a display there. And I think that actually Ken may have had something to do with this. Here we had these telephone network, these 4 wireless telephones that they did not sell, but they're still going to be for sale for our next event there. Then, of course, we had for sale the CP240, which is a Motorola. It does basically, you know, what the Motorola does. It's a 450 megahertz. You can see it's 450, which is right here. Actually, this is used by commercial, this land mobile. That's what the land mobile is. But you see it's right next to the amateur band. So land mobile, interesting. What is land mobile? So the FCC defines it as two-way radio service that's used for communications between base stations and mobile units, or between the mobile units directly. So that's what they mean by land mobile. And according to this information here, is typically used for industries, public safety, transportation, utilities, stuff like that. So anyway, that's what that's all about. Here to go along with it, this is the Auto Engineering. They're a company that makes Motorola accessories. So we also have these to go with each one of those radios. We have one of those headsets. And then here's our salesman of the year. Len is our salesman of the year. He was a 2-meter amplifier that we had was sold, and also the generous support of passerbyers who gave us donations. And for that, we're very grateful to those folks who asked for nothing in return and donated, and we got $50 from that. We sold one of these beam power amplifiers. It's used for a horizontal deflection amplifier in a color television, and it's a pentode. Interesting, but anyway, that was sold. We sold it for $30. And by the way, it's noted for its low knee. This is the knee of the transfer curve. And finally, we also sold this a 3-amp power supply. But we had this a computer that went out the door as well. So this we did about $223 worth of sales, which okay. But next time, here's what. Well, first of all, so what did we? So we learned. First of all, you need price tags, right? That if you remember those photos, they're handwritten. It was kind of sloppy looking. So we'll pick up some price tags. We'll also bring some some club sign-up sheets. We had a couple people we could probably signed up right then and there. And then the most basic. Anybody who's done anything in retail knows you always need to have cash on hand to make change, right? The other thing we'll add to that is an advertisement sign-up sheets for our FCC license classes. It'd be great to have some business cards, for the DART, actually, because a lot of people say, oh, what the frequency or whatever. You can just hand those out. Also, unless you like frozen pizza from wherever they get it, bring a lunch and photograph each of the items. This is what Ruben was talking about. Livonia is coming up, so that would be the next swap. If you're interested in getting a table or something, now would be at least go there, and we'll think further ahead going forward. Our board of directors meeting. We didn't talk about coffee cups at the board of directors meeting, but I just thought it was an interesting slide, so I just threw it up there. Quick recap of what we talked about at the board meeting last month. So, help wanted. We need a committee chairperson for the banquet.
Have anybody been to Omar's at a banquet at Hazel Park? It was very crowded. You couldn't move around.
That was before they remodeled due to a fire. So the question is, has anyone been there since they reopened, since rebuilding after their fire? That's the only valid way to determine what would or would not happen.
Yeah, I was there a year ago, and there was a banquet. Didn't we have a banquet hall one time there?
Yes, we did.
I didn't think it was that crowded, really, but
you couldn't
what
move
they
around.
did last time when we were there, Again, this was before they had a fire and before they had to remodel, is they closed off a portion of the main dining room and set up for a banquet there. So
Okay.
again, the question is, has anyone been there since the remodel, and what is the situation at that time?
I
Any
just
other
called
thing-
him last year. I called him last year and I talked to him, and they wanted about $28 a plate and guarantee 50 people. But I didn't go look at the room.
Okay,
But that shut it down. Nobody wanted to proceed, so we dropped it.
okay.
So
But-
yeah, we haven't seen it, but
Help wanted, again, a webmaster and a newsletter editor. That'd be somewhere we could really use the help, I must say. So if you're interested in anything and material, it's not about writing material, it's about general organization. The other thing we have to talk about, public storage, getting a public storage, things that belong to the club that need to be stored somewhere. And right now they're being stored at different people's houses, and it's not really right. So we're trying to get everything all into one. So we talked about that. We talked about, what else? Oh yeah, being nice on the dart. We talked about, scheduling so the new classes have been scheduled for next September. Okay. And if you check the website, we hope, if we could find a webmaster, we'll get that updated as soon as we can. We talked about member badges, and also we talked about a GoFundMe page for the Dart Antenna Project, which we'll talk about here shortly. And these are the details. I won't go into them all. I assure you that attention is going to each one of these important. If you do want a copy of this, I guess this too should be on the web page, but be in the member portal, I guess. So we talked about public storage. Okay, we're going to have to come up with we have equipment, we have like picnic stuff, we have different things. So these are the different storage areas that are around Hazel Park and Madison Heights there. So I'm looking at this, and I don't know, I just picked it in Madison Heights there's one of them, and this is, you can get a 5 foot by 5 foot. I don't know whether that's big enough, but the point in, what are we talking about? How much storage do we need? I do not know the answer to that, but we need to figure that out. If we need more storage like this, it's a little bit more, but again, it goes against our cost. So if you have anything to say about that, we would be more than happy to listen.
What kind of stuff are you talking about?
Well, we're talking about different pieces of equipment. I know that Bill has a lot of stuff at his house that they'd like to get cleared out of there. I know I have the screen and projector and different. I don't know if I'd probably keep it here, I guess. Things like the odds and ends and stuff like that.
I think you need to find out how much storage space you need before we purchase the storage.
Well, I'm just
agree.
thinking if you're to the point of, like, say you have paper plates and stuff,
Yeah.
like just throw them away and rebuy them at $50 a month for what you're talking about, your storage space. So like if it's nothing that's really inconsequential, you're talking about $600 a year in storage space at minimum there.
Yeah. And
Like is it worth $600 what you're talking about that you have?
There's also a substantial amount of equipment that the club uses at field day. I know that Bob has the other Bob has a lot of that stuff stored, but I think that NAQVS has some equipment, like I think he has the Jupiter transceiver. There's a lot of, and in fact, there's an official database maintained by the club director of what is where, and I'm not sure it's 100% up to date, but the club owns a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing. That when you talk about what Bob has, that's the trailer with the tower and the 5-element HF beam, and I don't. Does the club own the trailer too? I would imagine.
That's Bob's trailer.
That's Bob's trailer. Yeah. So when you think about it, but yes, there is a list somewhere, and I think somebody has it. Would be
I have I have a part of the old list.
You do? Okay, great. All right. So we'll work on that. Before we move ahead, we'll let members know what we're doing. And so we were talking about our mentoring committee, and Len, who's been doing a fantastic job, came up with this absolutely ideal idea. So Len, you want to talk about your survey there a little bit?
I sent the copy of it. It's rather brief, hopefully directly and to the point to Ruben. He's going to be mailing it out, and in a way that will be easy to reply to. And we'd like to know what you members here and everybody that fills it out, what's your intentions and where you're at. And it's better than guessing and so forth. So we just ask everybody to fill it out and let us know where you're at and who you are, where you plan upgrading and so forth. It should be explain itself, hopefully. And the other thing, I just had this donation that goes along with the radio that we have, the 578. Dan, KDHTT, another Madison Heights ham radio operator, donated this tuner that goes right with that radio, designed for it. And so he brought it over today and donated it to the club to go with that radio. So it's sweetening the deal. I have a verbal commitment on the radio, but it's from Grand Rapids, so he's got to try to find out. I don't want to ship this stuff. That's not going to work shipping. I've struck out before shipping.
And
so
a shipping charge.
well, even if I hate to do it. I know. So anyway, if he can make it out here to pick it up. But if anybody else comes up with more a good offer, we're taking offers on this stuff. We don't have outside of our time anything into it. So somebody, especially a club member, we'll just take the offer and go with it. Somebody's going to get a good deal. And also, John brought over some microphones. And one of them, it looks just like this one here that you see on the screen, only it's a hand mic. And it has to be wired for it, but that shouldn't be a problem. So we may throw that in too, make it a really nice package.
It would. Len, did you see this slide here?
Yes,
the TU32A.
Yeah.
So.
Well, here's the brand new microphone. It looks like that, only it's a hand mic that John AAAUU brought over yesterday, and here it is right here. I just took it out of the box. Get the tag on.
Is that original Motorola?
Yeah. John, I think it's online here, so he can answer any questions you might have about it. But we'll have to probably. I think the end of it might have to be changed on it, but that's.
Oh yeah,
a good amateur radio operator can do that, right?
Yeah. We've got the technology. All right.
Sell it for $100.
Well, I've already got a $250 offer on it.
There you go.
We should be able to go from there.
Okay.
And that was just a radio, but we're going to throw it all in and make it worthwhile. Just haven't been able to schedule a class this spring here yet.
Okay.
We'll have to put our heads together and see what we want to do, but haven't scheduled one yet. But we've been working with individuals.
All right, so we're back to where we were here. Thank you very much, Len, and thank you for all you do. It's great to hear you on the radio and to see you in person and in action. It's not too early to start thinking about field day. As a matter of fact, it's time to start thinking about field day.
Yeah, I had another idea. There's a lodge at what's it called? Civic Center Park in Madison Heights. I don't know if we can get in there or not, but I I got to check them out. The rental with Hazel Park, I'd really like to get into Green Acres Park because there's so many trees to hang antennas on. And we've been there many times, at least 3 or 4 that I remember for field day. But that date is the first Monday of March, and you have to be a resident of Hazel Park to make the reservation. Usually they let me do it, I think, with a phone call. I'll go there in person and then call somebody that's a resident. They seem to know me there at the place. But anyways, that'll be our date. But I'd like to check out Madison Heights one because it's an indoor location with fireplace and stuff. It's kind of neat.
Fireplace.
Yeah, they use it for a warming center with the hill. People sled down the hill.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know who owns it. It's not Madison Heights. It's on Madison Heights property. I talked to WD8S. He thinks the Goodfellows own it. So I got to get a hold of them before the drop dead date for Hazel Park, the way I figure it.
Well, that's
I did have, I think Marv said he's going to do it, field day. So I've got I think 3 volunteers for 3 people to provide stations for at least 40 meters in west on 20 for the tri-bender, I believe. So
You can always
it's a
count
start.
on me for 80.
What's that?
You can always count on me for 80.
Oh,
If you want, or for whatever you want to tune the radio to.
Count on me for digital or wherever you need me. I have my 7300 I'll bring.
well, yeah. We got to do better next year with the digital station. That was horrible.
Just keep it a long ways away from analog.
Yeah. Yeah, it was supposed to be a vertical, and the vertical didn't show up or something. I don't know. We weren't able to get a vertical. And they'd like to say, get it far away and cross-polarized is the goal.
What about bandpass filters? I know we have one set, but
We have a whole set, yeah.
but
But it don't help the problem we had last year. It had no,
Not at all.
not at all.
because we were bombarding the whole area with Mike's signal. 2 years in a row, we've put a loop antenna at the end of the hall. And the first year it was 40 meters and he got into everybody. Last year it was Mike with the 20 meter and he got into everybody. I mean, you can't filter when the RF's going right into the rig, which is what I think we were doing last year. We'll try to do better. That's why I want more trees, so we can spread the antennas out a little better.
Yeah.
It's a funny place. There was plenty of trees there, but it was in the form of forest. It wasn't like they weren't handy trees to use.
Right.
So
Well,
that's all I know right now about field day. We're just starting to try to get organized.
all right. Think about this, though. I have a suggestion. If you want to be inside, which we might want to, this is this is the community center, kitchen, Wi-Fi, restroom, and what do you do with the antennas? Well, we'd have to make arrangements that the street lights don't come on that weekend or whatever, but these are some of the possibilities. I know you and I have talked about this prior, but I just want to throw that out there. This was our room, and you can see we have windows there, and cables could go right out the windows. We even have a door. The way it's set up is that, we are in this building here. This is actually a garage for the maintenance equipment for the field, but that window is in between these 2 buildings here. And so even if you went from rooftop to rooftop, or I don't know, but anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. Something to think about. Of course, that we probably could get a better rate. When I did this calculation, it was for like an hourly rate. But if you do 24 hours, we could probably negotiate something a little bit better. But so there's that. All right, and then John, stand by. We're going to talk about
this backs against Green Acres Park.
Yes,
So
it does.
This
It
this
does.
really is the same location we're discussing. It's just the indoor area to the south.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. That's correct. Again, I want to underscore just what Len said. He came up with this idea. It's really terrific. Look, all of us on the board, we really work really, really hard. And we're trying to come up with ideas. And we want to do things, but we want to do the right things. We want to do the things that the members are interested in and would appreciate. And so that's what the whole purpose of the survey is, so that when it comes to your email box, which I believe it should be, and if it's not, let us know. And please give us some ideas and some instructions, even the good stuff, the bad stuff, anything. But we really want to hear back from everybody. This is being up for auction there. 100% of proceeds go to the antenna project. So we appreciate that. Little historic perspective on that microphone. And so we went through this. We talked about, this was so great. This was just so great. This, just being there, I think, surrounded by that energy was really terrific. So this was our setup. And next time we go, we'll be able to leverage what we learned there. And of course, these are the things that we sold. Thank you, Len, for leading us down the path of. So there we go. That's and again, in this, and if we're going to meet in person, I got this for Bob to put into the bank there. So we'll get that over to you there. $223, not bad for next time. So Zoom. So our thanks goes out to our Zoom master here, John, W-A-T-O-Y. Okay, so he's going to help us not only for our meetings, and we want to reinforce our online presence too. Getting everything all squared away, get the speakers working when we're doing in person, so that we can go both ways. And John's been doing a great job keeping it all pasted together there. Bob, N8REL, are you here?
I'm here. I certainly am here. What I can tell you right now, we've got a little over $6,100 in the bank. We didn't actually spend a lot of money in the month of January, except we did pay for a year's worth of Zoom. And you'll see down in other, one of the last lines in the expense, that $159, that's a year's worth of Zoom, which, again, the board decided to do. We hadn't had it budgeted, but it is part of administrative expenses. Let's see, other than that, the thing that I would point out is the in the year-to-date columns, you'll notice we're falling behind in dues. And so, we've only collected 920 so far, where really we kind of would have expected quite a bit more than that. So, if you guys haven't paid, please. For the budget, that's, 7 months of the budget. That's a guess. It's kind of like based on what happened in prior years. So maybe it's just floating between months. Okay, but that's that. So anyhow, we're not doing badly. We're keeping our expenses low. The big thing there is, we haven't spent much on the repeater yet. And we have paid a full year of Zoom in that, so, take that in consideration. Okay. The other thing that I would mention, and this has come up a couple of times, not only at the board, but it's also come up at Saturday morning breakfast. When people talk about raising money for the repeater, the idea has come up a couple of times about a GoFundMe account. Okay, now that's not a bad idea. The big problem with a GoFundMe account is just getting people to find it, because there's several thousand different GoFundMe accounts out there. The prices for GoFundMe are not bad at all, because they do take a percentage, but it's a very low percentage. But as the expenses go up, it's not bad. For instance, Well, at $10, of course, that would only be 59 cents. At $100, it would be 320 or $3.20. For comparison, let's say that you renew your dues through PayPal. Okay, now they charge us on average on a $30 dues on PayPal. They charge us. So out of the $30, we actually get $28.46. On GoFundMe, the same $30, the fee would only be $1.17, or we would end up with $28.83. About 37 cents more. So the GoFundMe, in terms of cost, is not bad at all, really. The big challenge with GoFundMe is getting your project out to people that would be interested in contributing. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Bob. Thanks for that. And interesting, just on the repeater, we're seeing some movement there, and we'll talk about that for those interested here in just a minute. Remember our scout troop etiquette on the repeater. And again, thank you.
All right. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're more than welcome. That's a good point. And it also,
excellent point. Excellent. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, excellent.
And it also points out to our need for a webmaster. We had a terrific webmaster, our former president, Mike K8WU. That's when he was single Mike, but now that he's married Mike, I don't know. Not a lot of time for ham radio, but we'll. Oh, and also I just want to just add this. Great suggestions like that. Everybody's invited to the board meeting to listen in. And so if you're at all interested in that, and we'd love to get the feedback or... All right, so speaking of the DART, the Detroit Area Repeater Team has been hard at work. And I just want to throw this slide up just to kind of plant the seed. Spring is coming up. Some sort of a civil defense exercise, perhaps, for the DART in case, let's say, it did have to be used in emergency situations. Just like setting up our Zoom meeting today, we had a couple glitches there, with the links and all that. But because we do it, we're going to do better there. So maybe something to think about in the spring, perhaps that could be a possibility. Now, moving on to the topic that everyone's been talking about, is the antenna project here, and we've got a few things to say, but I just want to give everybody an idea. These are the two antennas, by the way. The one on the right is the DART, the VHF antenna. All right, 37 years old, installed in 1988, right? And you can see the antenna itself is probably okay. Oops. But we're talking about these the masts. Need special attention. They're very, very rusty. And if we want to be in the emergency communications business, our antennas need to stay up in the wind. So now is the time to really pay attention to this and get those changed out, not being under pressure after the antenna is damaged. Now, John, while that's all... Mike is focused on all the outside stuff. John is going to be focused on the what's inside the cabinet, the radio cabinet. And so this is probably one of the biggest projects that has been plaguing us for a very long time. It's the voter, and the voter is supposed to make the right decisions. What this chart here shows is John did this experiment here where he took these, he sent out a signal in one central location, which happened to be his house, and he recorded the results of the signal, and these goes out to each of the remote receivers, and then the signal gets transmitted back to the main repeater on these auxiliary links on 450 that we were talking about. So, but here's something that's interesting. So John's house is up here, and as you can see, so here we have the east receive site, here we have the south receive site, and here's the DART main. Currently, these are the only receive sites that are operational. The south receive site, of course, if you look closely here, you can see it's right at Detroit City Airport there. That's the runway right there. Actually, I guess anyway. And then the other site's on top of the Ascension Hospital there. Now, I think part of Henry Ford, I believe. But anyway, that's the east receive site. And this circle is roughly 5 miles, right? 5 miles in radius. And this would be exactly the point if you wanted to do the same test, but do it from a central point, equidistant to each of the sites. And this would be the place to do that. Now, John wanted to do the same experiment, but move it down to Scout Park, which would be a little bit more centrally located. Or this is another point, equidistant point, which is down here, and I zoomed in on it, and I was surprised to find. But anyway, that's the equidistant point. So we're going to do some experimenting again, and that'll help clear up the link. Because once the links are balanced, that begins the process of straightening out the problems with the repeater. Okay, here's the replacement project. I mean, these are the justifications that we've used, and we'll make these available. Yeah, again, if we could get a webmaster, we'd like to really publish and this presentation too online as well. There's always something to think about. Well, an online store might look something like this, so we're kind of stop and go. But anybody who has an interest in this sort of a thing, we're certainly looking for a little help in kickstarting the online store. We do have an online store available through the website. Right now it's just selling memberships, but hopefully we can get a group together here and get working on that. And again, the new dates for technician class, extra class, general class for this September 9th, September 8th, Monday is the week that it all starts again. And really, we encourage you to join. We got great instructors, great classes, and it's really, I work with the extra class, and it seems like at every session, we always get a nice group of folks together, and we talk about the questions in the book, but we really talk about the theory behind the question. We don't get too deep into it, but just to get a little understanding rather than memorizing the questions, you kind of understand a little bit of what's behind them and why they're important. And don't forget, once you do get that license, become a volunteer examiner. You know, we can use a few good people, more than a few. So it's one way of giving back. So think about that. And if you have your license, Jerry, W9NPI, I think is back with us. He's looking great. We're glad to see him. So
just to put in a plug for that, Joe.
Go ahead. Yes, please.
I just became a VE, and it's not that difficult. So that's all I want to tell you.
Right.
You know, it's a test you take online, and they say, this is an open book test. Go ahead. I mean, it's that easy. So it's really not hard to do, and it's I see the need also.
Absolutely. It's a great way to give back. All right, the website. Don't forget, we need folks. We're looking for a webmaster. And so Mike has done a fantastic job setting this up, our new website. And we can use a hand here keeping it straightened out. In the spring, 2025, spring's right around the corner, apparently, depending on which, anyway, so don't forget that's coming up. And again, I'll close out by saying that we need help. We really need help. We could use your help. If you're at all interested in this, please let us know, reach out. And the Zero Beat is really our historic archive of where the club's been over the years. It's interesting. On the right side, you can see from 1975. in September. So we've come a long way, and it's easy and interesting. And yes, we are back. We are back at the Cozy Cabin. Okay, and we're getting quite an impressive turnout, I must say, every week. So there's plenty of tables. We push them together, and we have some great conversation, and it's really a nice gathering. I personally look forward to it every Saturday morning. I have 8:15. I think some of the folks get there even earlier, so it's terrific. It lasts from about 8:30 till about 10:30. Something. It lasts for as long as people stay, and when they leave, it's over. So that's how we do that. Do we have any? That's all we have here in our presentation tonight. Any last comments or questions or things anybody might have for the group here? The snow moon, as Reuben calls it. You can't see it; it's too cloudy out there. But all right, everybody, thank you. 73s. Have a great week. We hope to see you at breakfast Saturday morning. And with that, I'll say good night and good DX.